Sean, let's talk about Washington versus USC as you aggressively demanded that we start the show with. I think that if we were talking about this game before the Arizona State game, immediately after Oregon and after USC lost to Notre Dame, the outcome would be obvious. We'd be sitting here saying they're just going to blow past them. It's going to be high scoring, but Washington's going to score 2 more touchdowns than USC. But right now, I don't know where I sit, man, because Washington is an enigma. But the one thing that I will say that I feel is the case, and this is probably one of the most speculative takes I've had on this show. I feel like Washington is the type of team dicks around against bad teams, but steps up their play when they play good opponents. And I think the same thing is going to happen against USC.
The USC is not a bad opponent, though. They're not great. They're not horrendous. Their offense still has playmakers.
Yeah.
Their defense is just otherworldly porous. And they can't.
Soft.
They're soft. They can't stop anyone. It's one of these unnatural things to have a defense this bad at a school this big. It shouldn't happen. Your recruiting coordinators and staff shouldn't let this happen. Your defensive coordinator shouldn't let this happen. But position coaches, the heat is on. And the offense is trying their best to do their job. They're trying. And you're going into this Washington's still going to have to take them seriously. But this was billed at the beginning of the season as and we said it, if USC can get their defense right, this is going to be one of the best games of the year. This Pac-12, USC was supposed to be involved in some of the best games of the year. And they're not going to be because of their consistent ineptitude on the defensive end. They have removed a lot of great games because they can't hang, which is frustrating. Washington USC, Caleb Williams versus Michael Penix. Look at these receivers. Look at everybody. This is great. The setting. We're in November. This is when it's supposed to matter. Ugh. Thanks for nothing, Trojans. Thanks for absolutely nothing, Alex Grinch, Lincoln Riley.
Don't ever count on anyone associated with USC to be reliable.
Why is Lincoln Riley still doing weird bits?
Well, okay, what do you mean by weird bits? I just think he sucks. I think he just completely sucks as an individual.
Everything he does feels disingenuous.
Yeah, he's Dabo. He's a less accomplished version of Dabo.
At least Dabo's got his faith.
I mean, look.
Dabo's done something, though. Dabo's done.
Dabo can make a brisket.
Dabo. Oh, I'd take half a Dabo before I took Lincoln Riley.
Well, right. Dabo has actually won national championships. And we're going to talk about the Dabo thing in a little bit. But the thing that bothers me with Lincoln, and I did a whole video about this, the guy's actions after the game, after they lost to Utah, removing the players from media availability. I get he's trying to protect his players. I didn't like that. I think that what we saw earlier in the season was really messed up, where he blocked access to a young reporter because he didn't like something that he did, basically using context of a situation of a player somewhere in a team practice facility talking to another player, used a line from that in a story. But to completely remove access to a player or to a young reporter because he, for whatever reason, felt disrespected by this individual. I just think that the focus on this team is completely on the wrong things. But to get back to this game, I agree with you on what you're saying with Lincoln. He stinks. I obviously lean Washington. And I think that what this is going to come down to, USC is going to hit home. USC is going to score those long touchdowns. Caleb Williams is going to make some big plays. He was able to pull it out of his ass against Cal, and they're going to find a way to pull it out of their ass again against Washington to put points on the board. But if we just compare two secondaries, one is going to have a much more difficult time stopping 3 NFL receivers, 2, if not all 3 of them are healthy, compared to the other. USC is going to put points on the board, but You think that they're going to be able to tackle Rome Odunze, Jalen McMillan, and Polk? Like that's not going to happen.
No, they're not. They're not going to be able to do it. They don't have a pass rush that can get to Penix.
Their pass rush has actually been one of the better parts of that defense.
What's the over/under you're setting for sacks in this game?
Total or just for USC?
USC.
They throw the ball a lot, so let's say 2.5.
I know. Are you taking the over or the under?
Let's go with the push.
Okay. All right. Well,
if that's possible.
You know what? That experiment was a push. That's fine. That works. Michael Penix, I feel like, is going to have a career game. He could take the top off. He might rush for a touchdown. He might not be playing in the third quarter because why would we? We're up by 30.
You think it's going to be that bad? You're actually anticipating that it's going to be that lopsided?
How could it not be, Joe?
I mean,
give me a reason why. Give me a reason aside from Caleb Williams or a Zachariah Branch a return touchdown.
Well, you just said it. You just said it. They have multiple electric playmakers that if they needed to, they could get this thing back within 14. I mean, we saw it's almost the converse situation of what happened with Colorado and USC, where if they do go down big, they're going to put points. They're going to find ways to score quickly. They are capable of doing that. But I think this is at least a 2-score game, a 10-plus point game. 30 points is a little much.
I think the only way it happens is, when you're the team that you're rooting for is like they're making a push, they're down, and they just need to move the ball down the field late in the fourth quarter, and that 2-minute drill looks sharp. You just see it, and they're just moving the ball. I know the safeties are dropped. And you're like, wow, where was this offense for the first 3 quarters or the first 3.5 quarters? Like This thing is rolling. This is moving. They have some urgency because they're acting like they need to score a touchdown or else they're going to lose on this specific drive. I think if USC plays like that on every single drive, then that's the only way they have a fighting shot. Is if they treat the same way from the first possession to the 7th, this is a do or die touchdown or bust situation.
Okay, so this is kind of what I'm getting at here, and you're kind of leading into it. This, I think, for Washington's sake, why they're going to win is because they feel they've been sloppy, and when a team's been sloppy for 2 straight weeks, that means you come into practice and Coach DeBoer is going to be on your ass, and a lot of those issues are going to be at least cleaned up, not completely fixed, but at least cleaned up. You're going to see a cleaner, more conservative game, a better defensive performance. But on the flip side of things, like USC, man, I don't know what type of a team they are. I said before the Utah game, when I predicted that Utah was going to win, I said that they feel like a team that has already quit and that they are starting to quit. But you would imagine if they had any pulse or any fight or any pride, that they would say, you know what, we're playing like shit right now. And then they would use this as an opportunity to not prove that they're worth being in the national conversation, but to cause damage and to prove some people wrong. If they
go on a vengeance tour, go on the vengeance tour, pull a Utah. That'd be awesome.
Do damage.
That'd be great. It just would. I've got no dog in the fight for the Pac-12. I just know it's the most exciting conference we got right now. Do some damage. Would be fun.
Do some damage. We'll see what happens.